Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Civic Forum on Whispers 87.7 FM. My name is Uche Nogo. A pleasure to have you join us this morning. Nigeria is blessed with abundant human and natural resources, yet many communities continue to face challenges ranging from environmental degradation and poor waste management to misinformation and weak civic participation, and limited opportunities for young people. As climate change intensifies, flooding becomes more frequent, and urban waste continues to threaten public health, and the need for responsible environmental stewardship has never been greater. At the same time, the media plays a critical role in informing citizens, shaping opinions, promoting accountability, and inspiring positive social change. But government alone cannot solve all these challenges. Citizens, businesses, civil society, and the media have important roles to play in building a cleaner, more responsible, and more prosperous Nigeria. So, how do we go beyond awareness to meaningful action? Our conversation this morning, we have a guest. A guest today joining me is Mr. Aro Leonard, founder of Cleverest Center, a media development practitioner, a social transformation advocate, and environmental expert, and he is also an entrepreneur. Welcome, Mr. Aro, to the Civic Forum. So good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you again, and good to be on Whispers for the first time.
Yay! Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we go straight to our conversation this morning. Um, Many people see the media simply as a source of information. Beyond reporting the news, how can the media become a catalyst for national development?
Media practitioners call themselves journalists. Generally, we say we are the fourth estate of the realm, and for those who read your Bible and all that, you know where the other estates are: the presidency, the legislature, the judiciary. They are all somewhere. You can catch them. But where's the media? The media is everywhere. Right now, as I'm speaking, you're listening to me in the Atlantic Ocean and everywhere, all over the place. The media is everywhere. So media is like omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. So we claim to know everything. So what that means is that without the media, nothing can work. If you check every single sector, without communications, without the media, without putting out, nothing works. Your businesses, government, nothing works. So sometimes when we sit and then we say, oh, government this, government that, it's the media that's supposed to even tell let's say of course, politicians are not experts. We are the ones that are supposed to know a little bit about everything because we have contact with everybody. Mm-hmm. So for someone to get up and say, oh, government is not doing this, government is not doing that, that means the one that is everywhere, that is all-knowing, has not told that government what to do. If the people want to speak to the government also, they can't just jump up. You can't walk up to us rock now and say to the villa and say, how you want to take pass gate? You get it? Mm-hmm. It's the media they will talk to, and the media will talk to the government, and the government will listen to the media, and the government will take action. Okay, so that's the kind of role the media plays. So without the media, and that is why any organization, government, business, NGO, individuals who does not understand the role and power of the media is really missing it. Yeah.
So how can journalists and broadcasters help change attitudes and behavior towards issues such as the environment, sanitation, civic responsibility, and even community development?
First of all, I think what journalists have to do is to build themselves, first of all. Now, for so many years, 12 years of my life, I would say I was responsible for like 80% of media development work in the country through the BBC Media Action then. And that capacity building journalists, their skills, was not just about training them on how to do journalistic things, how to be a good broadcaster, how to manage a station and all that. No, it was also creating consciousness about societal issues. So you as a journalist first, apart from being a very good broadcaster, being a very good writer and all that, you must first of all see yourself as a human being. So you must understand those issues. You must be able to put yourself in the place of whoever is going through something. Sometimes I've seen situations where people come on air or they write, it's as if they are writing from the moon. And then you come out and you see all kinds of things and you go back and you're suffering. You go face the same issues. Whereas God gave you the power to use your platform to help transform things. So that is one thing I see missing, because if we are into what is happening in the society, you don't have to wait for the government to say something. That's why we say we set the agenda. You will be the ones to pick up that conversation. You will be the ones to move things forward. Okay, so journalists have to first of all not just build yourselves on journalistic skills alone, but build yourself on societal skills, knowledge, interact with people. Those of us who like to use those paid cabs with AC and all that, enter bus sometimes, enter taxi sometimes, interact with people, stroll into the market, play with people, interact, so you know what's happening, internalize them, and then think about how you use your skills to put out those issues.
Okay, so let's talk about social media. It has given everyone a voice. Now, do you believe that it has strengthened public discourse, or has it made misinformation more difficult to combat?
The truth about it is that so many years ago, we knew that was where the world was going to. Unfortunately, the Nigerian media refused, for reasons best known to any media person, refused to occupy that space. Research shows that all those people looking for news on social media and everywhere, especially young people, trust traditional media more. That's the truth. But the unfortunate...
You think so?
Yes, that's what research shows. The trust for traditional media is still there, even though it has gone down. In the last 2 years, trust for traditional media has gone down. And the reason that has happened is that a huge number of people, a greater percentage of people, maybe 70-80%, access news via online platforms. And the unfortunate part is that the traditional media guys are not as active as these content creators and influencers on social media. And that's the problem. So if I can't see you, if you're not there for me, the trust I have for you starts going down. That's what's happening over the last 2 years. Okay, but it's still the priority. That is where they want to get the information from traditional media. They believe the traditional media people are the ones that are trained, that are, and all that. And also they believe the traditional media are the ones that have them at heart. The influencers are there to post for money and all that. They know that, but we are not occupying that space, and that's the challenge. So when you don't occupy, they say, I do mine at Devil's Workshop. Not be so. So when you, the traditional media guy, that is the good guy, you don't occupy the space where things happen, the bad guys will occupy that space, and that is what has led to misinformation. So when people talk about when you hear government officials come and talk about regulating social media and saying all kinds of things, we are not getting it right. The real thing we should be doing is ensuring that the good guys occupy that space more. And that's the way. I've done some of those strategies, and I've seen it work. When you occupy the space, the bad guys won't see space to push misinformation.
Let's talk a bit about the environment now. Nigeria continues to experience flooding, blocked drainage systems, and poor waste management. In your view, what is the biggest environmental challenges facing our communities today?
Not us. That's the simple truth. We are the biggest environment challenge we have. In the news yesterday, Ogun State government was warning traders because have a lot of waste on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. They are warning traders. But I saw a wonderful documentary, also mini documentary, about something happening in Lagos State, where a biogas plant was set up in a market, in a major fruit market. So all the fruit waste goes into the biogas plant. So the biogas plant now supplies the traders electricity and all that. And the traders normally before would pay to dispose the waste. Now they just move it to the biogas plant for free. Okay. Now the first thing what I say is us is this: our waste is too much. It's too much. If as individuals, I was interviewed a couple of weeks ago in Lagos on TV on this same issue, and I dipped my hand into my pocket and I brought out a sweet wrap, and I showed it to them and I said, look, I had this thing somewhere, I took that sweet somewhere, and instead of just throwing it on the ground, I put it in my pocket so that when I get to where there's a waste bin, I put it there. That's one. Two, you buy more food than you can eat. You know, our waste is just too much. It's too much. So the first thing we need to do is reduce our waste. Buy what you can eat, okay? And then just caution ourselves. Take a few steps away, you will see a waste bin or something. We have waste disposal places, you know, where we could dispose things properly. You know, that's not government, okay? But where the government comes in is now to do like what the Lagos state government is doing.
Yeah.
When it comes to proper planning, for instance, take the Lugbe flooding, for instance. I've been in Abuja since 1990. If you check the road, the way the road is from Area 10 to the International Conference Center, you see the undulating nature. As an environment, I studied the Abuja Master Plan back to back during my IT at FCDA when I was in school. And part of the things that was written there, Abuja Master Plan, the chairman of the committee was the first geographer in Nigeria, Mabo Gunje. Now, they took all that into consideration. So roads were built, houses were built according to the natural flow of water. So if it rains in area 1 to 10, for instance, it doesn't take a couple of minutes, it flows in, because you see that undulating, it just flows into the stream close by. But when you take areas like Lugbe, Lokogoma, government gave people allocation to build estates. Then you just get in with your bulldozers, and it's still happening today in this current regime of the FCT, and I'm hoping the FCT minister is listening. You just take your bulldozer in, you clear everywhere like that. You don't think about the nature, the topography, and all that. And then what do you expect? You've already altered the course. And so there will be flooding. Are you getting? So it is us. So it's one individual who failed to read that Abuja Master Plan. Read it and understand. It's written there clearly how the place should be, what they are to do. That person is in the FCDA currently, so it's an individual. If I was there as someone who knows this thing, I wouldn't make that same mistake. So it's individual things. So once we change our ways, both as local normal individuals and individuals working in government establishments, I'm telling you the truth.
Schools, communities,
and
religious leaders.
Exactly. It becomes okay in churches. You talk about these things, not just message in mosques. You talk about these little things. But do we do that? Do churches have good waste disposal plants that they set up there? You know, schools. Do you have such? You get it. It's not by bringing why and forcing people to know. Let's just change our mindset.
Talking about change now, you were passionate about social transformation. What does that mean to you in terms of why is it important for Nigerians at this stage of its development?
In so many ways. I'll give you an instance now. The World Cup is going on. Nigeria is not there. I just have to say that. And when you go back and check the way these things happen, you find out that all these things started with Nigerians not believing in ourselves, not us not believing in us. Okay? So if you want to transform, you have to first believe that you're good enough to transform and you could do things by yourself. But when you don't believe in yourself and you depend on outsiders.
Yeah.
For instance, we believe every product that comes from outside Nigeria is good. And we know where 90% of the fake products come from in the world. Let me not mention the name. Are you getting? We don't believe, we believe, oh, if a player is playing outside, it means it's better than here. Osimhen was from, what did they call down a place for Lagos? Olu Sosuma, where did they call him? Dump side, that's where it's from. All the big players we've ever had, Stephen Keshi, Amunike, and co, were from the stadium in where my primary school is, Nigeria Navy Primary School, in Maluro there in Ajegunle, where you have Maracana Stadium. Igalo is from there. Are we getting what I'm saying? So once, if we know we want to change, we want to make things better, we must start believing that we have the ability to do things and make it. That mindset thing, that is where the change came from. That's what China did. They looked inwards and see them today.
So, as an entrepreneur, what opportunities do you see for young Nigerians who are willing to innovate and also build businesses despite economic challenges?
Honestly speaking, I've been someone who, let me say, I've been taking care of myself in quotes from a very tender age, worked to pay my way through school and all that. And I've always been, and that's where cleverness came from, for those who don't know, is about using whatever little things you have around you, whatever God has made available to you, to turn it to something, very good. Now, during our time, we had that mindset to struggle, to try to get things done ourselves. You're in the media, you've mentored a lot of people. Today, even when with all the opportunities online, though some, a few, maximize it, they use it, but others don't these days. And why that is, I don't know. So for every young person, anything you need to succeed is there. For instance, you now have AI. You want to come up with something, you're not very sure. In those days, we'll go and struggle, ask this person, go from year to year. But today with AI, you could sit in your place and think about an idea. How can I do this? And you type it just in your WhatsApp there. And AI will tell you, oh, you could do this, you could do this. You could even ask, okay, who can I go to? Where can I? So all these things are there. But instead of us tapping into it as young people these days, what we do is follow the Davido and Wizkid music and all that. So for any young person, there are loads of opportunities. That millions will not come immediately, but you can make that million within a short time if you tap into the opportunities around you. Just look, what little thing can I do to get me somewhere? And the opportunities are endless. At my age now, there are so many things I can't learn, so many things I can't do, but I know where they are, how to do them. I wish this AI thing came when I was struggling. Now it's there for you. Some of us can guide you, so that's why you seek a mentor. You attend some of those workshops, you join some of those groups, look for people who can guide you, but we cannot carry your hand and go on. You have to do the rest yourself.
So if you have the attention of policymakers today, what are the 3 environmental reforms? What would you recommend that would be national priority?
Funny enough, I was part of, as a youth corper then, so many years ago, I was part of the team, sort of, when it was FEPA, Federal Environmental Protection Agency, not before it became Ministry of Environment, that developed the National Strategic Plan for Environment. So all those documents are there. But honestly speaking, I can't remember when. So many World Environment Days have passed. I can't remember when anything was said about those documents. Now, FEPA then used to be like an academic organization. So you had, top guys there. And so these policies are there. So one of the first things I'll tell the government is to go back and check those policies. About 3 years ago or so, I heard something about them trying to review policies, but I was expecting to hear something maybe this year's World Environment Day, nothing. So go back to the National Strategic Plans on Environment that were set up. We need to go back to the development plans of the Gowon era, 1970s. We had massive development plans. I think they were reviewed once in the 80s and then abandoned. There are things that have to do with environment. The environment issues work with planning. So as the FCT minister now, His Excellency Yesom Wike is doing a lot of development in Abuja right now. A lot of things are happening. But where I have issues is that I need them to go back to the master plan of Abuja. Not just knowing that, oh, this area was meant for this, area was meant for this, that El-Rufai, did, and then changed some. But look at the details underneath it. That is what we don't read. There are environment-related policies connected to every single road construction, housing, everything in this Abuja. So that's one thing I want us to go back to those documents and read them, and then understand the environment components put into it. 2, in every single thing we are doing, when we are doing business engagement, business setup, like for instance now the Dangote refinery was set up in Lagos, Eco Atlantic was built. In everything, yes, they will say they did environment impact assessment. Yeah, whether how that plant would affect the environment and all those kind of things. But you should also link that to actual planning, actual population movement and all that. That is why you have that flooding in Lekki now. A lot of people don't know. If I say this now, they'll say Victoria Land started flooding when the British built their Papa Harbour. Water would always find its way, so it diverted water to that axis. Now, when Lekki was set up and people had started building and a lot of things, development had been sprouting up there before Eco Atlantic was constructed. Now, when you construct Eco Atlantic, what happens? It's going to divert water over there.
A lot of people blame David Umahi, say it's what he built that's causing the problem in Lagos.
No.
That's what a lot of Lagosians think.
All those are just, yes, because many times in Nigeria we are short-sighted. You understand? We just see what is happening now. But the problem had been since. That is why we must go back and start afresh and start walking back step by step. For instance, it's not hard to solve that Lekki problem. Just go. If you see where I live in Lagos is Ajegunle, people think it's a slum, but just Google it on your map. You will see how the British developed that place. Ajegunle is a land of enjoyment. That's where you had some of the billionaires of Lagos in the 40s that the British were interacting with. There are 2 big canals by the side. So that is why you don't see flooding there. So you go to Lekki, for instance, canals that would be like river, big. Yeah. You have to designate places and build 2 giant ones there and connect the water to it. Go and look at the Google map in Lekki. You'll see a huge stretch where you have nothing like that. Okay, compare it to that Ajegunle point that I'm talking about. So we need to go back to this. I don't know who are the environmentalists in FCDA that we have, or in the ministry itself. I don't know what the ministry is really doing. If you are doing business discussions, the environmentalists should be there. You're doing health discussions, the environmentalists should be there. People don't know that when we had a cholera outbreak in the East so many years ago, it was a geographer who is a medical geography expert that traced the source of the cholera and solved it. You don't deal with health issues with just drugs. Everything, you have an environment aspect. In fact, during Babangida's regime, Nigeria's representative at World Health Organization had a PhD in medical geography. And that's how you use environment into every aspect you're doing, and life becomes better. When the government does that, I'm telling you, you'll be surprised how things will change.
Mr. Aro Leonard, founder, Cleverer Center, media development practitioner, social transformation advocate, environmental expert, and entrepreneur. Thank you for sharing your insight with us.
Thank you very much.
And that's a program on Whispers 87.7 FM. Tomorrow we'll bring you another topical conversation on the Civic Forum. My name is Uche Inago. Have a great day.